Hello friends, myself Dr. Kirti Sriram Kulkarni and I am from Gokhale Education Society's Arts, Commerce and Science College Jawhar. So friends, I welcome you all for the TYBSc Inorganic Chemistry Semester 6 and we have started with the Unit 4, that is some selected topics. So friends, in our last lecture we have discussed about the various metals in the bioinorganic chemistry and what are the role of different metals that are essential in our body. So in that we have discussed the first two types of metal, that is sodium and potassium, and then we have seen what are their significant role in our human body and their functions. So these functions are regarding intracellular and extracellular, that is inside the cell and outside the cell. So it maintains the equilibrium between the cell membrane. So again, what are the different function of sodium and potassium in metabolism, that we will discuss in this lecture. So first function is maintenance of osmotic pressure. So we all know that osmotic pressure is very important as far as our body is concerned. So it maintains the osmotic function as well as the different body fluid throughout the body, and this maintenance is very important for the maintenance of normal hydration in our body. So therefore sodium and potassium play important role as a chief cation of intracellular and extracellular fluid to maintain a prominent equilibrium between hydration of our body. So second role is maintenance of normal acid and base equilibrium. So the sodium salt and potassium salt with its corresponding weak acids are known to form a buffer system, which is important for maintenance of extracellular as well as intracellular fluids. So these buffer systems play a vital role in regulation of pH of various fluids under various physiological conditions. Then the third important role of this metal is transport of CO2. So both sodium and potassium are known to play a role in the transport of gaseous CO2. Then it maintains the viscosity of the blood. Okay, so in blood plasma, sodium and potassium, they are having the outstanding function not only to keep the fluid in the solution at a maintained level, but also it maintains the degree of hydration in the plasma proteins. So therefore it maintains the viscosity of the blood. Then the next function is secretion of digestive fluids. So we all know that gastric acids like HCl, they are very important for the digestion of our food, as well as NaCl in the blood. It also maintains the pH of the blood. Then the base or alkaline fluids which are present in digestive system like pancreatic juice and bile, these are very important, and their level is maintained by also level of sodium and potassium salts. The next important function is to carry the charge. Okay, so that is charge carrier and enzyme activator. So they are also important in carrying the charge as well as the structure promoters in both protein as well as polynucleic acid. So therefore they play the role of enzyme activator also. And finally they play important role in excretion. So both sodium and chloride, they are important role in functioning, or we can say proper functioning of kidney. So there is important role in the gastrointestinal system of our body, and therefore they play important role in excretion system. So what will happen if there is deficiency of these sodium or potassium? So if sodium are in excess or in if deficient system, what will happen? So sodium deficiency shows reduction in fat deposit, okay, atrophy of the muscles and testes, lung infection, retarded bone growth and reduction in osteoid tissue. Similarly, deficiency of sodium also causes reduction in blood pressure, causes circulatory failure, etc. Then excess of sodium increases blood pressure. It is also called as hypertension. Deficiency of potassium reduces heartbeat and causes scarring of the heart muscle. Okay, then the hypertrophy of the kidneys and paralysis of muscles. So this type of thing can happen if there is deficiency as well as excess of sodium and potassium in the body. Then the second very important metal in our body is iron. Okay, so iron is very important and its importance is well known to all of us. So it is important because it helps making the red blood cell which carry oxygen around the body. So a lack of iron can lead to iron deficiency anemia. Okay, and therefore its role is very important. Iron is also important or essential element for blood production. About 70% of our body iron is found in the red blood cell of the blood called as hemoglobin and in muscle cell called as myoglobin. So hemoglobin is essential for transferring oxygen in our blood from lung to the tissue. मतलब एक जो सेल है that is called as hemoglobin which is transferring the oxygen to our blood from lung to the tissue. So this way this is very important. The second important thing is that hemoglobin और myoglobin दोनों एक दूसरे को क्या करते हैं, कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री हेल्प करते हैं. सो बोथ हीमोग्लोबिन एंड मायोग्लोबिन are involved in the transfer and storage of oxygen in biological systems. So the hemoglobin uses the or it contains the certain amino groups to bind CO2 and carries it back to the lung. So here we can see what are their functions. So important function of iron is oxygen transfer. Okay, so oxygen transfer is the main role of hemoglobin. So it is essential for transferring oxygen in our blood from lung to the tissue, and the myoglobin in the muscle cell accept, storage and transport and release that oxygen. Then we can see the structure of these particular compounds in our body. So the first structure is of heme, and when it reacts or when it bind with oxygen it forms oxyheme. Okay, so this type of chelate or this type of coordinate compound is observed when hemoglobin or heme molecule is bounded with the oxygen. Okay, and finally it forms hematine. So these are very important for proper functioning of our respiratory system. Then the next structure is of hemoglobin. So here we can see the structure of hemoglobin or heme group. So here the heme complex, we can say it is a octahedral complex. Okay, in this free state we can say there are two positions above and below where there are H2O groups are attached. Okay, so the magnetic moment data of this heme complex suggests that Fe, that is ferrous, has 4 unpaired electrons, and this expected is 3d6 complex with a weak octahedral field. Okay, so these complexes which are also known as protoporphyrin, okay, which is a molecule of hematine which helps us for the proper functioning of our lungs. Then the second function is electron transfer. Okay, so iron from the important part of the cytochrome and certain other enzymes such as catalase and peroxidase. So these two enzymes are helping us for the electron transfer. So cytochrome catalyzes biological oxidation and it provide energy to our body. So what will happen if there is deficiency of iron or excess of iron? So if there is deficiency, that is lack of iron, it will causes anemia, blood cell and hookworm infection. So these are quite serious diseases which are taking place because of deficiency of iron. If there is excess of iron, then what will happen? There are certain diseases called as hemosiderosis. So this hemosiderosis is the condition where repeated blood transfusion over the year take place. When iron is deposited in liver, spleen or pancreas, there is also a situation called as cirrhosis of the liver. Okay. Then there is also hemochromatosis. So hemochromatosis is the bronze pigmentation of the skin. So skin become bronze in color. This condition is called as hemochromatosis. So these are the certain diseases which are caused because of deficiency as well as excess of iron in our body. Next important metal in our biological system is copper. Okay, so copper is the third most important biological metal, which is also a part of transition metal. Okay, so the daily consumption of metal is around 2.5 is important, 2.5 milligram for copper, while the required amount for adult in 2 milligram per day. Okay, so our body obtain copper from nuts, dried legumes, okay, cow milk, etc. So this is important food products which can provide us the certain requirement of copper. It is mainly distributed in liver, kidney and intestine. So copper is bounded with the albumin and histidine for the proper intake in gut, and it is transported in the liver where it is useful for the celluloplasmic things. So we can say the major function of copper is uh, that it will help to keep the blood vessel, nerves, immune system and bones healthy. So copper also aids in iron absorption. So for the proper absorption of iron, copper is required. Okay, so we can say the functions of these particular metals like manganese, ferrous, cobalt, copper, these are the important constituents of our metalloproteins as well as metalloenzymes. So copper occur over 30 enzymes and protein. So it is also a constituent of redox enzymes and oxygen transport pigments. So we will see what are the different role of these major metal, that is copper. So it is helpful in oxygen transportation. Then it is also important in the redox catalysis, and it is also helpful in maintain metabolic rate of heart and brain. So this way these are the important functions of copper. Now what are the classes of copper protein? Okay, कॉपर के साथ जो प्रोटीन बनते हैं जिसमें कॉपर होता है उनके क्लासेस क्या है ना. सो द फर्स्ट वन इज़ द ब्लू कॉपर प्रोटीन and the second one is the non-blue copper protein. Okay, so the blue copper proteins are various, that are azurines. Okay, they are from bacteria. Then the second one is called as ceruloplasmin. So ceruloplasmin are from mammal plasma, birds, okay, amphibian, reptile plasma, etc. The third class is lackage. Okay, so lackage catalyzes the oxidation of a number of diamine and diphenol during the course of reaction that is coupled with copper. So they are also quite important to our body. Next class is ascorbic acid oxidase. So it is a plant enzyme containing copper and helpful in the reduction of oxygen to the water. Then there is next class which is called as non-blue proteins. Okay, so non-blue proteins are galactose oxidase. Okay, so what is its role? It catalyzes the oxidation of primary alcohols to the O2 to form aldehydes and H2A2. Okay, so hydrogen peroxide is formed in this reaction. Second important class of this type is called as hemocyanin. Okay, so hemocyanins are important for the respiratory system which carries oxygen, okay, and belong to the protein found in lymph in most of the mollusks and arthropods. Okay, so these are important non-blue protein of copper, and the last type is called as triosinase. Okay, so triosinase is found in animal skin, insect and plants. Okay, it is important for the pigment formation in plant and animal. So अगर ये बॉडी में लेस हो जाता है तो देर इज़ प्रॉब्लम लाइक स्किन पिगमेंटेशन. Okay, so this way there are two classes of copper proteins, which are blue copper proteins and non-blue proteins. There are also some other copper classes. Okay, so they are also known as superoxide dismutase and cytochrome C. So these are the important classes of copper protein. Next is again, what are the ailments or diseases which are caused by the deficiency or we can say excess of copper. So body में अगर कॉपर की कमी आ जाती है ना, देर इज़ डिफिशियंसी ऑफ कॉपर, देन देर इज़ प्रॉब्लम्स लाइक एनीमिया और वी कैन से फ्रेजिलिटी ऑफ बोन्स. सो जो हमारे बोन्स है वो एकदम नाजुक हो जाते, फ्रेजाइल हो जाते. Then again there is fragility of arteries. Okay, hypopigmentation of skin, then irritation of skin, graying of hair, myocardial fibrosis and several other type of disorders. So it is very important to take the copper in proper amount. If there is certain more deficiency, then there is problem like Menkes disease. Okay, so this disease is characterized by low concentration of copper in plasma. So various diseases are caused because of deficiency of copper. Then if there is excess of copper, बॉडी में अगर कॉपर ज़्यादा हो जाता है, then there is problems like Wilson disease. Okay, then this Wilson disease is a rare genetic disorder characterized by excess copper stored in various body tissue, particularly in the liver, brain and corneas of the eyes. So the disease is progressive and it is left untreated. कोई अच्छा इलाज उस पे नहीं है. It may cause liver hepatic disease, central nervous system dysfunction and also causes death. The again excess of copper can cause kidney, liver, brain damage. Okay, then hepatic cirrhosis and neurosis. So therefore the excess of copper is also quite harmful to our body. Finally we will discuss about the sodium potassium ion pump. So we all know that for a proper functioning of our cell membrane, the sodium potassium pump is very important. So it acts to transport sodium and potassium ion across the cell membrane in the ratio of 3 sodium ion out of 2 potassium brought in. So in this process, this type of pump which exists in around the membrane of cell, this pump help to stabilize the membrane potential, and thus it is essential in the creating the conditions necessary for the firing of action potentials. So these type of pumps are of two types. First one is called as active pump and the second one is called as passive pump or active transport or passive transport. So what happens in active transport? When the transport of ion is from low concentration to high concentration region, it is called as active transport. So this type of transfer take place against the concentration gradient where the driving force is membrane activity and hence active transport requires energy. The second type is passive transport. So this passage is again through membrane from high concentration to low concentration region, which is called as passive transport. And this type of transfer of molecule take place along concentration gradient where the driving force is physical force and energy again required. So this type of two transport systems are observed in our body along the cell membrane. Okay, so actually during this mechanism high concentration of sodium ion inside the cell and high concentration of sodium atom or sodium ion outside the cell along the blood plasma is maintained. So an ion pump of this type is called as sodium pump or sodium potassium pump. So they have to maintain high concentration of potassium inside the cell and high concentration of sodium outside the cell membrane. So the steep concentration gradient between sodium and potassium across the cell membrane is maintained by sodium potassium ion pump. So this is the important role of them कि सेल के अंदर पोटेशियम लेवल हाई रखनी है और सेल के बाहर सोडियम मेटल हाई रखनी है. The energy required to drive the pump is provided by the hydrolysis of ATP. So we all know that energy in our body is actually provided by the hydrolysis of ATP. So it is by the specific enzyme which is called as ATPase. Okay, so the sodium potassium ATPase is a tetrameric protein. It has 2 alpha subunits and 2 beta subunits. Okay, so the larger alpha unit are in contact with each other and protrude right through the membrane. So this way the sodium potassium pump is very important. So we will see what is their actual mechanism, how they work. Okay, so this mechanism take place in 3 steps. So sodium और potassium ion pump जो है it was discovered by the scientist Jens Christian Scow in 1957. So the ion pump is cyclic and it works with the membrane bound enzyme sodium potassium ATPase. So this is a catalysis type of reaction and it takes place in opposite direction. So the sodium and potassium moves across the membrane of the cell and where the ATP energy is utilized. So hence transportation of sodium and potassium is called as active ion transport. So in this case there are 3 steps. First step is phosphorylation of ATPase. So in the first step where the enzyme binds 3 sodium ion inside the cell to the specific site on the alpha subunit, and due to the sodium ion the local polarity change and the terminal ATP in the presence of magnesium ion it hydrolysis to ADP. Okay, so it is adenosine diphosphate and it releases some energy. Okay, so energy is released in the form of ADP and it is used to drive up the pump. So this pump is activated using this energy. Then the second step is conformational changes. So on phosphorylation the conformational of alpha unit changes turning inside out called as inversion. तो सेल का इन्वर्जन होता है and this is like movement through a revolving door that brings the bound sodium ion to the outside of the cell membrane. Okay, and जो inside sodium था now it is taken out and 3 sodium ions are released in the extracellular fluid. तो अंदर के 3 सोडियम जो है वो बाहर आ जाते and this called as phosphorylation of ATPase leads to major conformational changes in the enzyme. And the last step is dephosphorylation of ATPase. So 2 potassium ions which are bound to the outside of the enzyme, the attachment of potassium ion trigger the dephosphorylation of the alpha unit and phosphate is released to the intracellular fluid. तो ये जो उसके साथ फॉस्फेट है वो इंट्रासेल्युलर यूनिट में और फ्लूइड में आ जाता है. So this induces conformational changes of the enzyme once again by inversion process. Okay, so finally the 2 potassium ion which were loosely bound are released to the intracellular fluid and potassium ion enter inside the cell. So the enzyme revert to its original conformational position and to accept sodium again and continue the cycle. मतलब inside जो सोडियम है वो फर्स्ट स्टेप में बाहर आता है. देर इज चेंज इन द शेप और वी कैन से कॉन्फर्मेशन ऑफ दिस एंजाइम एंड इन थर्ड स्टेप जो बाहर का पोटेशियम है वो सेल के अंदर आ जाता है, दैट इज इंट्रासेल्युलर फ्लूइड. सो दिस वे these two potassium ion enter into the cell with the expulsion of 3 sodium ion. ओके, तो पोटेशियम आयन सेल के अंदर आते हैं और एक्सपल क्या होता है, 3 सोडियम आयंस. सो द एनर्जी इज डिराइव्ड फ्रॉम द हाइड्रोलिसिस ऑफ एटीपी कैटेलाइज्ड बाय मैग्नीशियम आयंस. Okay, so this way this pump is very very important, and this is responsible for the transmission of nerve signals in animal. Okay, so it is also important to maintain the volume of the cell, and in absence of this cell the cell may get swallow. Okay, and ultimately it get burst. तो ये जो फंक्शन है सोडियम को बाहर लेके जाना और पोटेशियम को अंदर लेके आना इज़ वेरी क्रूशियल, and it is very important for the maintenance of each and every cell. So this way here we ends with the syllabus with this particular chapter, that is inorganic chemistry, and I wish you all the best for your exams. Thank you so much.